I talk about the idea of hiding, there are going to be some of your audience that know exactly what I'm talking about. This idea of covering or concealing part of yourself to fit in because of the fear of rejection or judgment. And for me, I was born missing my left hand, and I hid it from everyone for 25 years.
Hello and welcome to The Money Mindset Show, the place where we help female entrepreneurs to transform their mind so that they can achieve financial success in the least amount of time. Here, we talk about subconscious mind, we talk about money mindset shifts, money mindset blocks, a strategy so that you can bypass your own money mindset and increase your income, better your relationship with money, and grow your business. Okay, before we start this episode, hey ladies, especially my women of color, this one is for you. If you are in business and hoping a mindset shift is all you need for financial independence, let me stop you right there. Financial independence isn't a magic switch. It is a process. Every move you make in your business should build on this journey so that you don't have to waste another year of your life without the result. Forget about getting lost in social media and getting lost in all of the algorithms. Your moves should be working towards a bigger financial picture. That's where we come in. Inside of a Brown Way to Money Academy, we break down how to master money, identity, taxes, retirement, and investments, and how to erase guilt and shame around earning more and keeping more. It is about stacking your revenue step by step until everything fits together beautifully. Picture yourself right now, confidently securing your financial future while embracing abundance and enjoying your family, your kids, your time, being finally free of money worries. It sounds like what you need? Then head over to themoneymindset.com/academy. That is themoneymindset.com/academy and join us. But don't wait because enrollment closes very soon. Ruth is an author and her new book is out, and I can wait for you to tell us all about it and to dive into this topic that is very true for a lot of us, hiding. So welcome, Ruth, to the podcast.
Thank you, Alejandra. I'm really excited to be here and to share this message and amplify it with you around unhiding.
Absolutely. So let's start where who you are, what you do, and why did you decided to start writing about unhiding?
Sure. So what's interesting about my background is part of me was hidden for a really long time. And Alejandra, when I talk about the idea of hiding, there are going to be some of your audience that know exactly what I'm talking about. This idea of covering or concealing part of yourself to fit in because of the fear of rejection or judgment. And for me, was born with a limb difference. I was born missing my left hand for your audience that's listening in. And I hid it from everyone for 25 years. I literally tucked it into my pocket, put sweaters over it, hid it behind bags so that no one would see it. Because my big fear was that if someone saw it, they wouldn't like me. They wouldn't date me. They wouldn't love me. And honestly, I was so afraid they wouldn't hire me if they saw my hand. And so this idea of hiding is real to me. And what I found in the research and the writing I've done, Alejandra, is that most of us are hiding something. Hiding is universal. It's also extremely exhausting and lonely. And what I know about my journey of hiding and unhiding is the other side. There's another side to hiding, which is this unhiding. It's incredible relief and joy that comes with it.
I love it. I love it and I resonate. Of course, for you was something physical that you couldn't control, but it still is that judgment, is that kind of like screen that we put in. But I know for my personal experience, and I always tell people this story, it doesn't compare, but for me, my curly hair was my hiding. For the longest time in Colombia, since you are 13 years old, they teach you how to straighten your hair. And you put thousands of chemicals and products that stink. It's so it's like it's so strong that you have to cover your eyes and your nose. And it is so many things that happen. And then for what? To hide your curls, to really misrepresent what beauty and what Afro means and all of these things. So to me personally, that was a huge part of hiding my identity. My hair for you was your arm, right? For people. And this is the thing. We don't realize how many things we are hiding. But why do you think that is?
I think it's exactly what you're talking about, which is I think sometimes there are cultural norms or stereotypes of what quote unquote perfect is supposed to be, right? What beauty is supposed to look like, what success is supposed to look like, what even just self-esteem is supposed to look like. And so we hide things because of that idea of rejection or judgment. And your story illustrates so perfectly. It can be anything, right? People share with me the idea of changing part of themselves to fit into something, whether it be people are afraid of sharing their hair, your piece of the story, or people, Alejandra, have shared they hide their religious background, they hide their education, whether it's they're ashamed of where they went to school or they're ashamed that it was too good, right? Like the extremes are so interesting. They hide their finances, they hide their relationship status, their age. I mean, people are hiding things, to our point, all over the place. And yet we often walk around thinking we're the only ones. We're the only ones that have to straighten our curly hair. We're the only ones that have to not talk about that we have a dream that's bigger than us, right? That we don't want to tell someone because they might make fun of us. And so I think it comes from this idea of what is perfect, whether it be beauty, whether it be background, or whether it be just ourself. We get a message and then sometimes we repeat that story in our own heads and we make it, we're not always the most reliable narrators of that journey. And so we tell ourselves even worse stories about ourselves. What if they see that curly hair? Like, that isn't attractive. That's not pretty. Nobody will like me. And so we internalize those narratives. We actually sometimes make them worse.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing, and what I have noticed and what I work with as well, a lot of that hiding goes beyond of what you perceive most of the time and what you are aware of. So if we talk about the financial and money side of things, I can start with hiding those pair of shoes because, oh my God, my husband is going to find out and I just hide it. This is a true story. A lot of you and a lot of my clients do this because you grew up seeing this from mom, from aunt, from whatever. But it goes all the way into hiding who you are now that you are an entrepreneur and that now that you need to show up for your marketing, for your brand, for whatever it is. Now that you need to show up, you're still hiding that part of you and you are the worst judge of that part. So it's not like it may start with the hair like me, but it goes all the way into hiding the way that you go about life, how you show up right now, how you show up for your finances, how you show up for your financial independence right now. I'm in the middle of launching, in the middle, not the beginning of launching the Brown Way Academy, which is the program for women of color to design and walk their financial independence path. And a lot of it is how we claim back our identity. And it's something that people don't really understand with money. We believe that identity and money is these two separate things, but it just goes so tight and hide. It's like if you hide who you are, how you are expecting to show up and represent your own definition of success, when in reality, there is no definition because there is no you that can back up that. So in your research and in your writing, what have you found that has been the biggest rewards of unhiding?
Yeah, there are so many.
Hey, interrupting this episode to remind you that you can go right now to themoneymindset.hub.com/academy. That is themoneymindset.hub.com/academy and get into the Brown Way to Money Academy, the only program that is going to teach you how to design and walk your path to financial independence as a woman of color in business starting today. Go to themoneymindset.hub.com/academy before we close enrollment.
Compare it, Alejandra, to imagine taking that deep breath in, right? Whether it's your audience may know some of this from, when you go for a mammogram and you have to not breathe for those 30 seconds while they take the x-ray, right? That's that. And all you want to do is breathe at that point. Like there's this intense, just wanting to let it out. That exhale that we take that's what unhiding feels like. It's that joy, it's that release, it's that freedom that comes from allowing someone to actually see us, for ourselves to actually see us. Because I think when it comes to, and I really appreciate, which is why I wanted to be here with you, the idea of identity and money, right? With this idea of hiding, because I think those internal voices, especially around money, whether we grew up with how we understood money in our own families and how we understand it today, those internal voices are so strong about how money plays into our identity, whether we have wealth, whether we're going into bankruptcy, whether we're spending too much, whether we're spending too little. There are voices that we are sharing with ourselves and messages that we're getting about that. And I think when you talk about this idea of, and when we talk about this idea of how do we show up, it's not just with the external people, it's how are we showing up with ourselves? What's the connection to ourselves, right? How are we understanding our own self-value and self-worth? And then how are we connecting? Because one of the things about hiding that is kind of nuanced is it takes a toll on us. It takes a toll on who we are internally and those voices. And it takes a toll on how we connect with others. And so the freedom and the joy that come with unhiding are an ability to connect with ourselves, to be real with ourselves about what's going on, an ability to then allow someone else to come in and realize that they may be facing the same thing, or they may be able to offer support to us in a different way because now they know. So if it's about money, I think about if you're going through a hard time with money, let's just take that example, and you think you're the only one, so you're not telling anyone that's what's going on. Well, then no one has an opportunity to be curious. No one has an opportunity to offer solutions or to offer support. And because often with hiding, we feel so alone. And so unhiding allows for connection. It's actually the key to connection.
What do you think are some triggers for people to unhide? Because that could be very challenging. And I know as an entrepreneur, you are kind of forced to unhide because you are forced to push with your business. You're forced to now with the social media, if that is the way that you market, right? You are pushing yourself to get out there. So that can be a trigger. But what are other triggers that you have seen? What was your own trigger to say, you know what, I'm done with this?
Sure. And I want to be totally clear too. Unhiding is not an overnight process. So it's not like your listeners are going to all of a sudden listen to this, right? And then say, oh, I'm just going to tell everyone everything and open up.
Right.
That is not what I'm prescribing here at all. It's this unhiding is a journey. And it's to your point, there are things that come up in your path that you feel blocked or you feel stuck. And so those are perfect moments to think about what is holding me back? What's keeping me from thriving? What's keeping me from connecting and belonging? And those are those small triggers, to use your word, around what can I learn from this? Like, what is it? And for me, it was that space around how come I'm not dating successfully? How come I'm building up all these walls around every relationship I was getting into? Made me feel not connected because, Alejandra, I was hiding my hand in relationships, dating relationships. And if you think about intimacy and you think about connection, when you're hiding part of yourself and you're so worried about being found out, that isn't true intimacy. That's not being able to be your full self. And so for me, I went to therapy because therapy was an outlet that I knew I could get some support around it. I didn't know exactly why I was failing in relationships a lot or not feeling connected or again, feeling like I was putting up all these walls to keep people out from knowing parts of myself. Maybe on the outside, I looked great and I was, smiling and flirty and all of that. But when it got to being truly intimate with somebody in terms of connection, that was one of those triggers that I was like, how come it's not working? And realizing that hiding part of myself was keeping me from connect.
Wow, that is so powerful. That actually is so powerful because there is a point where you ask yourself that question. How come I'm not there? How come I'm not getting that? And it's with everything. It's with relationships, it's with money, is with
It's
publicity.
with work.
Now,
It's
yeah,
right.
it's
Publicity, right. Career, publicity. And I think that what you and I have been learning, right, together at Press for Success is this idea of also, how do you share your story? Because
right.
resonates with people. That's what people want to hear, because we're not alone in this journey. And I will say the other piece is unhiding is a privilege, Alejandra, because there are certain groups where it doesn't feel safe to totally unhide today, right? So I'm mindful of that. Also, there's culture dictates part of it, gender dictates part of it. Like there are sexual orientation dictates part of it. Like, so it's a journey, and people don't have to go on a podcast with you, right, to unhide, but they can unhide to small groups. Like there's actually 4 steps in unhiding.
And that is what you get in the book. So talk to us about the book, those 4 steps, and let us people know how they can find that book.
Sure. So this newest book, my first book was Single-Handedly, Learning to Unhide and Embrace Connection. And that was really my journey, right? Sharing with people so that people knew, hey, here's somebody who's gone through a journey. It's this idea of hiding part of yourself. And then for 25 years, keeping that secret hidden and then learning to unhide. And in the second book, Unhide and Seek, Live Your Best Life, Do Your Best Work, the idea is now the tables are turned to you. What is it? What is hiding? So that you get a full kind of range of it. There's an inventory in there of what are you hiding? What have you hidden as part of yourself? And then there's a quiz, which is what type of hider are you? Because what's interesting, Alejandro, when I talk about this concept of hiding, there are always 4 reactions from people. And maybe your listeners are one of them. One is, Ruth, I know exactly what you're talking about with hiding. Kind of like what you just shared with the example of your hair. I know what hiding is. Got it. I'm in your camp. I get what you're talking about. Tell me how to unhide. Great. Second is the wanderer who's maybe listening right now and thinking, what am I hiding? What is it that's holding me back? What am I hiding about my finances? What am I holding back? And it keeps me from connecting and thriving. That wanderer, just the curious part. The third type is, and maybe you met them too, because I have, who when I talk about hiding, Alejandra, they're like, oh, I'm not hiding anything. Right. I'm an open book. I probably overshare everything. And so there's the oversharing. And that's still a curated narrative of what people want us to see, right? Like that's the open book. And then the fourth type is a fortress, somebody who maybe is listening and says, I'm not sure why this is important. I'm not right. I don't know if I'm hiding. I don't know why we talk about this. And we talk about this because it's about connection and it's about self-awareness and introspection and allowing for, there may be parts of your life that you're holding back and it's keeping you from connecting. And if it's not you, then there may be somebody in your life. And so looking even outside yourself a little bit. And so this second book shares that piece, like breaks down those 4 archetypes and then shares with you how in your personal life and in your professional life, you can unhide. What does that look like? What are the things that, even if there's someone in your life that may be hiding, how can you help them? What are the things to say?
Love it. So tell us, how can we get?
Sure. It is on every outlet right now. I know it's on Amazon. I know it's on barnesandnoble.com. It's on any place that you read your books. Right now it's in ebook and it's in print version. And then hopefully coming this fall, the plan is to do it on audiobook as well.
Yay! I love it. I'm a big audiobook girl. I mean, it fits my life perfectly. So
then you just convinced me to do it. Okay. I'm in.
Yes. You know, when you have a 5-month-old that just wants to be in your lap, you just have time when she's on the stroller or when you are putting something. So audiobooks are my jam, 100%.
Okay. I'm in. Yeah, I did it with the first book, and it's definitely part of the brand too, right? It's inclusion, so that there are people, to your point, who may be having intense work-life balance, right? So this is a space to have that. There are also people with mental health or neurodivergent or disability who need this space as well. So it's about being inclusive for sure.
I love it, Ruth. Thank you so much for this and for this conversation that I'm sure is going to be very valuable for all of our listeners. Please let us know how to continue the conversation with you, where to find your LinkedIn, and where do you hang out the most?
Sure. And I appreciate that, because what I'm really trying to start here, Alejandra, is an unhiding movement, right? This idea that how do we create cultures, whether it's in our communities, whether it's in our workplaces, whether it's in ourselves, where unhiding is the value, where we value different experiences and different perspectives, because that's what Unhiding is really about. It's about connection. And so I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, and I have a newsletter on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn at Ruth Rathblott is the perfect place, my website. And then to know a little different part of me, I would say Instagram, because that's where I share my other pieces of myself. They're not always so quote unquote professional, right? You see my loves and my passions for theater and New York City and travel.
Love it. And what is your Instagram handle?
Ruth Rath.
Perfect. And we're going to put it on the show notes so you can access to it. Okay. But before I let you go, did you know that you have a space where your money mindset work is made extra simple so that you can increase your income, better your relationship with money, and grow your business in such a simple and easy way? Go to themoneymindset.hub.com and choose your path and start making those changes easily and effortlessly. That is themoneymindset.hub.com.